We want to learn how you literally turned a passion from your youth into an entrepreneurial empire and a global brand. How did your car passion start?
Well, my dad restored cars for a living when I was growing up. And so that was our lives. Growing up, there was no time for sports in my life. There was no time for anything because at 8 years old, he put a piece of sandpaper in my hand and he put me on a fender like this and he says, "Go like this, you're hired." And that's the way it's all started. In third grade, for the summer, he had made me rebuild the Model A engine. And so I went to school. Now I'm in the fourth grade, and the teacher said, "What did you do for the summer?" I said, "Well, I rebuilt a Model 8 Ford engine." But Hershey was the biggest car show and in the country at that time, Hershey, Pennsylvania. Well, I'm 7 years old, and I'm going to this big, huge car show. So when I was 10, though, he put a sandwich board sign around my neck with all the parts he was looking for, and he sent me out into the flea market. Now, this is huge. This is not like a parking lot or anything. This is a huge thing. And he put a crayon in my pocket and said, "Now go out and find these parts. And here's a crayon so the person can write their space number down that has the parts, and then come back at lunchtime and we'll go look for them." Was the reward.
The genesis of chasing classic cars, you could almost go back to that field in Hershey when you were 10 years old.
Yeah. You know, my father restoring classic cars and Model A's and stuff, I was sort of, really honed on that type of car, that era car. But then my cousin on the farm had a lean-to, and he built hot rods in that lean-to. And so I was the beer guy. I was, go get me a beer. That guy, go get me a half-inch wrench, whatever it was. And he and his buddies would sit around and smoke cigarettes and drink beer and build hot rods.
One of the stories I love that I've heard about you is that you got a ride in that short wheelbase 250 Ferrari, and it changed your life. Can you just mention?
So we would go up into the Adirondacks on vacation every year to one of the resorts up in the Adirondacks. So there was a doctor from New York, and I was about 10 years old, and he had a 250 GTE one year, and the next year he had a 250 short wheelbase. And I looked at that car, and it just excited me as an 11-year-old. I mean, I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." He opened the hood, and it's got 2 distributors. It's got 2 oil filters. It's got everything. I thought it had to be the best car in the world. And then he said, "Ask your dad if it's okay to take a ride with me." Just getting involved was the best lesson. So somebody says, "Hey, I'm saving my money because I want to buy a Z28 Camaro. Maybe I can do that in the next 5 years." And I said, "Well, what about now?" "Well, I don't know." I said, "Why don't you go buy a car to show, doesn't matter what it is. If you got an unusual car like a Pinto or an AMX or something like that, and you bring it to the car show, everybody wants to talk to you about your car because it's so unusual. So buy something that's unusual, then maybe buy the Z28 later." But getting into it is just being part of it. And the only way you can be part of it is to get in with the people and talk to them. And so the easy way is buying something weird and unusual.